no one remembered when humans stopped being explorers and became a warning. Across the distant Orion clusters, alien empires and fledgling kingdoms whispered one simple, unwritten rule: never ever corner a species that simply refuses to stay down. But some civilizations, drunk on their own power and history, learn this truth a little too late. Our story begins on a forgotten fuel-harvesting moon, a desolate rock called Astra 17. It was a place where the sky always looked bruised, a perpetual twilight of purples and deep, angry reds. The ground itself hummed, a low, constant thrum, as if something ancient and powerful was buried deep beneath the metallic crust, sleeping fitfully. It was here that a quiet, unassuming technician named Riven Hale lived a life so silent that even the automated machinery seemed to take pity on him. His days were a monotonous cycle of diagnostics, repairs, and solitude. His only companions were the ghosts of static on his comms unit and the rhythmic clanking of the fuel extractors. He was a man who had faded into the background of his own existence, a gear in a machine he no longer understood. Until the day the crate arrived. The delivery drone made no announcement. It descended from the bruised sky with a silent, almost predatory grace, its anti-grav engines barely disturbing the red dust. It simply dropped a large, imposing metal container onto the landing pad, sealed with military-grade maglocks that glowed with a faint blue light. The drone's optical sensors blinked once, a cold, indifferent red, and then it ascended back into the twilight, leaving Riven alone with the silent, monolithic box. Riven expected equipment, perhaps a shipment of replacement power converters, or maybe a broken diagnostic bot he was supposed to salvage for parts. Something routine, something boring. He keyed in his access code, and the locks disengaged with a series of loud, metallic clicks. The heavy door hissed open, venting a cloud of chilled, recycled air. He peered into the darkness, and that's when he saw them. A pair of glowing amber eyes, wide with terror, looked back at him from the shadows. Inside, huddled in the far corner of the cold, sterile container, was a fragile, terrified alien girl. She couldn't have been much older than a human teenager. Her skin had a faint bioluminescent quality, and her features were delicate, almost ethereal. A small data pad was attached to the crate's interior wall. Riven unclipped it. The screen flickered to life, displaying her designation in cold, blocky text. Recovered Asset 4B, Lyra Kaelis. Below that, a single line. War compensation per the Treaty of Cygnus X1. War compensation, a trophy, a piece of property traded between empires to settle a score. That's all she was supposed to be. But Riven didn't see an asset. He didn't see a trophy or a line item on a treaty. He saw a person, a child, scared and alone, a billion miles from anything she knew. He saw the same loneliness he felt every day reflected back at him in those luminous amber eyes. He offered a hand, slowly, cautiously. She flinched, pulling back deeper into the shadows. For several days she remained in the crate, her fear a tangible presence in the quiet hangar. Riven brought her nutrient paste and purified water, leaving them just inside the door and retreating to give her space. He spoke to her softly, telling her about the hum of the moon, the names of the distant constellations he could still see, anything to fill the suffocating silence. Finally, one cycle, as he placed the food tray down, she spoke. Her voice was a whisper, a fragile melody in the harsh industrial space. She spoke in broken, halting galactic common, the trade language of the quadrant. Just 7 words. Please, Don't send me back to them. Riven didn't know who them was. The treaty documents were heavily redacted, classified far above his pay grade. But he didn't need to read a file. The faint silvery scars that circled her wrists, partially hidden by the sleeves of her simple tunic, told the whole story. They weren't the scars of an accident. They were the marks of restraints, of a cage. In that moment, a switch flipped inside Riven Hale. The quiet, obedient technician who was so good at following orders, so adept at staying invisible, simply ceased to exist. He looked at this terrified girl and he made a choice. He sealed the empty crate, falsified the delivery manifest to show it contained a faulty atmospheric processor, and scheduled it for return. Then he led Lyra out of the hangar and into the labyrinthine corridors of his living quarters, his own small, forgotten corner of the universe. He hid her. He fed her. He protected her. Slowly, a new rhythm took hold on Astra 17. The silence in Riven's life was replaced by Lyra's quiet questions about human culture. The monotony was broken by her attempts to draw the constellations on his wall with a piece of chalk. The cold, mechanical hum of the moon seemed less menacing somehow. For the first time in years, the dead, lonely rock began to feel like something close to a home. Riven taught her more common. She taught him the name of her people, the Alari, a species rumored to be pacifists, artists who could weave light into song. He learned that her homeworld was gone, a casualty of the very war she was meant to be compensation for. Then one night it happened. Astra 17 trembled. It wasn't the familiar shudder of the fuel extractors. This was a deep, violent, seismic pulse that resonated from the core of the moon outwards. Every metal wall screamed in protest. Alarms blared across the facility and the lights flickered wildly. Riven rushed to the main viewport, his heart pounding. The bruised sky was no longer empty. A ship sleek and black as obsidian was descending, its design sharp, angular, and utterly hostile. Lyra stepped beside him, her small hand gripping his arm. Her amber eyes were glowing brighter than he had ever seen them, like twin dying stars. "They found me," she whispered, her voice laced with a terror that chilled Riven to the bone. He thought she meant the military, the faction that had sent her. He was wrong. "Not soldiers," she clarified, her gaze fixed on the descending ship. "Not hunters. Something far, far worse." She told him their name, the Helion Collectors, a shadowy syndicate, a parasitic cult that believed certain species were nothing more than living batteries. They considered her people, the Alari, to be a source of priceless, pure energy. They weren't coming to capture her. They were coming to drain her, to consume the very light that made her who she was. The choice was laid bare before Riven. He could give her up, hand over the asset. No one would blame him. He was a technician, not a soldier. Abandoning her was the logical, survivable option. He could walk away and live his quiet, lonely life. But humans have this strange, stubborn flaw baked into their very code. They were never very good at running away from the impossible. They were never good at abandoning the helpless. Riven looked at the terrifying ship, then back at the girl Poliska's hand was trembling in his. He saw the same choice his ancestors had made time and time again. To stand for something or to fall for nothing. So he stood with her, a forgotten technician on a dying moon, against an entire alien syndicate known for its cruelty. And as the Collector's landing ramp slammed down, disgorging figures clad in dark environmental suits, Lyra revealed the power she had always hidden. The glow in her eyes erupted, engulfing her. A corona of pure, white-hot light enveloped her body, a living star burning just beneath her skin. This was the energy the collectors craved. This was the power of the Alari. Together they weren't just survivors anymore. They were a reckoning. Riven, with his intricate knowledge of the station's systems, turning the moon itself into a weapon. And Lyra, with the heart of a sun in her chest. That day, on a forgotten rock in the middle of nowhere, a new story was written into the galactic archives. A story that served as a warning to never underestimate a human, and to never ever threaten the person they've decided to protect. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another journey into the unknown. We'll see you in the next one.